You know the drill, right? It's January 1st, and we are absolutely on fire. We set these huge goals. We're going to write the book, get in shape, completely overhaul our spiritual lives. But then February hits. Suddenly the alarm is getting snoozed, the planner is gathering dust, and the guilt starts to creep in. But what if the problem isn't your willpower? What if the real issue is deeper, more foundational, maybe even spiritual? Okay, let's get into it.
We have never had more tools to help us. There are apps, planners, life hacks galore, and yet it really feels like we have less actual follow through than ever. We keep thinking if we just find a better system or if we just have more grit, it'll stick. But the framework we're exploring today suggests that maybe the whole way we approach goals is missing the point from the very beginning.
So here's the absolute core idea. It's about a fundamental shift in how you see your goals. We need to move away from ambition, which is all about goals we invent to serve ourselves, our own ego, and move toward discovering our assignment. See, an ambition asks, what can I get? But an assignment asks, what purpose am I meant to serve? That single word change from ambition to assignment reframes the entire process. It changes everything. And that brings us to the framework itself, which is laid out as a 4-stage journey. Now, don't think of this as some rigid corporate ladder. It's much more like a winding, organic path. Think of it as a life cycle for living with real purpose. And this visual just lays it out so perfectly. It all starts with the vision. Then it moves into the walk. And then it prepares you for the valley, which ultimately leads to the harvest. Now, what's so powerful here is that the valley is on the map. It's not shown as some kind of mistake or a detour or a failure. No. It's an expected, totally normal part of the journey. And that's key, because if you don't pack for the valley, you're never going to make it through. So let's start at the beginning. Stage 1, the vision. This is all about alignment and definition. As Proverbs tells us, hasty plans lead to poverty, but the plans of the diligent lead to profit. This whole stage is about that diligence. It's not about speed, it's about getting the foundation right. And the very first step in getting aligned isn't to start hustling, it's to start praying. The idea is to commit your plans to God before you even take the first step. And look, this isn't about getting a divine rubber stamp on your personal wish list. It's more like a calibration. It's taking a moment to ask, hey, is this just a good idea or is this a God idea? Okay, so once that spiritual alignment is there, the framework gets really practical, surprisingly tactical. A vague goal like, I want to grow spiritually. Well, that's not really a goal, is it? It's just a vibe. So the framework brings in the SMART goals tool to fix this. When you define a goal like, I will read 1 chapter of the Bible every day for the next 30 days, you create a clear finish line. There's no ambiguity, and ambiguity is what kills consistency every single time. And then you write it down. This isn't just a memory trick. It's about building momentum. This idea is tied right back to the ancient wisdom from the prophet Habakkuk. In this picture, you are the herald. You're the runner. Now think about it. If the message you're carrying is vague or messy, you're going to hesitate. You're going to stumble. But a clearly written goal, that's like an accountability partner that is with you 24/7. All right, so we've got our vision. We've written it down. Now we get to stage 2, the walk. This is where faith gets its feet dirty. This is the daily grind. Now, the number one killer of the daily grind is overwhelm. Your brain sees this giant mountain called write a book, and it just shuts down. The strategy here is to break that huge goal down into tiny, manageable tasks. See, you can't do a project. You can only do a task. It's all about focusing on the daily bread of your assignment and not getting choked up trying to swallow the whole feast at once. And celebrating those small, faithful steps, that's what keeps your motivation tank full. And here is the absolute key to the walk. Real success is a product of routine, not a one-time heroic effort. We think we need these massive bursts of energy, but what we really need are sustainable spiritual disciplines. So instead of just trying harder to pray more, you create a rhythm. You make a sacred appointment with God. A faithful routine will always override a fleeting feeling. You don't need inspiration if you have a schedule. But, even the best routines get tested. Life happens, and that brings us to the messy middle. Stage 3, the valley. This is that tough spot where the initial excitement has worn off, but the finish line is nowhere in sight. This is where real resilience is forged, and where faith is truly tested and proven. So the most practical tool for getting through the valley is something called the filter question. Our days are just jam-packed with noise, right? Requests, distractions, notifications. This one simple question acts as a filter for all of it. Is this activity helping me achieve my goal, or is it a distraction? It just forces you to be a good steward of the precious time and energy you've been given. And this is so critical. You were never meant to walk through the valley alone. Isolation is where goals go to die. You have to share your goals with trusted friends or mentors. And accountability isn't about someone nagging you. It's about having someone in your corner who can remind you of the vision when you're down in the thick of it and you've lost sight of the sun. So many of us get caught in this perfectionism trap. We miss one day or the plan has to change and we immediately think, well, I failed. But this framework offers such a crucial reframe. Changing the plan isn't failing, it's navigating. If you had a roadblock, you just consult the map, you pray, and you find a detour. You don't just turn around and go home. You trust that the guide knows the terrain way better than you do. So, after navigating the valley with resilience and with your community, you finally reach the fourth and final stage, the harvest. This is where you see the goal come to life, but it's also a powerful reminder that good things, really good things, take time. This verse from Galatians really holds the key. The harvest comes at the proper time. This is so freeing. It completely releases you from the burden of the outcomes timing. You're responsible for the diligent effort, the planting, the watering, the weeding, but you are not responsible for when the fruit shows up. Your only job is to not give up. And while you're waiting for that final harvest, you have got to celebrate the small ones along the way. Don't wait until the very end. Acknowledge the milestones as you pass them. Practicing gratitude for the small wins isn't just fuel to keep you going. It's a genuine act of worship that honors the progress God has allowed you to make. And this all leads us to the ultimate point of the entire journey. It's not just about discipline, it's about learning to rely on God's strength and grace every step of the way. And here's the most profound takeaway of all. The real goal isn't just the thing you get at the end. The real goal is the person you become in the process. The discipline, the habits, the resilience forged in the valley, that is the true harvest. So we want to leave you with a really practical challenge. Go ahead and look at your schedule for tomorrow. Every meeting, every task, every notification, and for each one, ask that filter question. Is this helping me achieve my assignment or is it a distraction? You might just be surprised to find that the biggest obstacle to your goal isn't a lack of ability, but an abundance of clutter that's pulling you away from your God-given assignment.